Do you want to be the driver of your life, to take control and choose direction and therefore be successful? Or are you okay to be a passenger, sit in the back seat and just take whatever comes and go wherever anybody else leads you, and maybe look back in your life with regret? Hi, I'm Andrew Bryant, and I'm an author, a speaker, and a coach on the topic of self-leadership. In this video, I want to share 5 things that sabotage people being the driver of their life. The 5 things that will stop you becoming a driver in your life are the culture within which you were born, your parental conditioning, fear of failure, lack of self-confidence, and finally, low self-esteem. So the first limitation is the culture within which you are born. Being a driver or practicing self-leadership is different contextually, whether you were born in North Korea or North Carolina. So all behavior is contextual. So I was born British. I'm English by birth, I'm Australian by passport, I have a Singapore permanent residency, and I'm married to a Brazilian. In each of those cultures, being a self-leader is slightly different. But I'm fortunate that I was born in cultures that encouraged me to step up and be a self-leader. You see, from the moment of your birth, you were given a name, a nationality, an ethnicity, a gender, and possibly a religion and a football team to follow. See, you've been framed by your culture. What was the environment in which you were born into? Does it encourage you to step up and take ownership, or does it encourage you to be a passenger, to fit in, to not rock the boat? So the second reason is parental conditioning. Now, your parents, of course, are also products of the culture within which they are born. And so your parents are conditioning you as to whether you should take risks to get out there, or whether you should play it safe and be conservative. I remember reading Richard Branson's autobiography, Losing My Virginity, and he talks about his mother encouraging him to take risks, to get on his bicycle and visit his family a long way away in Bryant, and off he went and took his adventure. And so Branson was being conditioned by his parents to be an entrepreneur and to take risks. What about your parents? Did they encourage you to take risks, or were they trying to keep you safe all the time? The third point is the fear of failure. Even people who are outwardly successful, underneath the surface, have a level of fear of failure. And yet, being the driver of your life, you're going to make mistakes because you're going into new territory. You're trying new things, and you won't be perfect the first time. So fear of failure and/or its twin, perfectionism, is what's going to prevent you living a life of self-leadership where you can try something, and if you don't get it right, you can take the feedback, make the adjustments, and move forwards. The fourth point that will stop you moving forwards is lack of self-confidence. Confidence is the magic formula, the secret sauce to success. Whatever we do, if we do it with a level of confidence, we're much more likely to be successful. A lot of people worry that if they project confidence, that they're going to be perceived as being arrogant. But arrogance is walking into a room thinking you are better than somebody else. Confidence is walking into the room knowing that you don't have to compare yourself with anybody else. The final point that will sabotage you in stepping up to self-leadership is low self-esteem. Now, a lot of people confuse self-esteem and self-confidence. Confidence is the belief that you can do something. Self-esteem is the reputation you have with yourself. Esteem is a very old word for value. So if you have low self-esteem, you have low self-value. You don't value yourself enough. Partly that comes from comparison. You are told that this person is better than you, but in reality, if you look at this rationally, nobody on the planet is worth more than anybody else from a human perspective. Sure, some people have more money. Sure, some people have more skills. But each human being is in themselves innately valuable. Okay, so the solution to overcoming these barriers and to stepping into the driver's seat of your life and being a self-leader, let's start in reverse order from low self-esteem. And I already gave you the clue. And that clue is you are valuable. And so each day you need to be able to look in the mirror as you put on your makeup or you take a shave and say, I am valuable. I add value. Say that with me. I am valuable. I add value. And so it's important that you have both aspects, because if you think that you are taking from the world, then maybe the inner dialogue will prevent you from stepping into that value. So the next thing to address, the next solution is to build your self-confidence. And again, it is self-confidence. And confidence is the belief in our ability to do things. So to build your confidence, do an audit of the things that you have done in the past that you are 100% confident to do. Right? Can you type without looking at the keyboard? Can you format a Word document? You're confident to do that. Great. But there's 100 other things that you're confident to do. Can you have a conversation? Can you listen to what somebody else needs and respond appropriately? Are you confident to do that? And as you continually build that audit of the things that you can do well, then that sets you up to say, I am confident, therefore I can try new things, and whatever comes my way, I can handle it. And think about this mantra, whatever comes my way, I can handle it. Now, does that mean you're going to get it perfect? No. Because if you do make a mistake, the mantra becomes, there is no failure, only feedback for improvement. There is no failure, only feedback for improvement. And so if you are constantly having an audit, I can do this, whatever comes my way, I can handle it, and there is no failure, only feedback, you will be constantly being in the driver's seat, trying new territories, developing new skills, and therefore becoming more successful. Now, the next barrier is fear of failure, and you might think I've already covered that when I talked about self-confidence. There is no failure, only feedback for improvement. And this will help you with fear of failure. But there is an extra piece that you need to address to overcome fear of failure. And that is, what's the worst that could happen? What is absolutely the worst that happened? You see, mostly fear of failure is exaggerating an anticipation of the worst thing that can happen. You know, it's as if you are already pre-imagining the embarrassment of the worst possible thing that can happen. And so overcoming fear of failure is just rationally saying, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? If I ask for this thing and somebody says no, is that the end of the world? Of course not. But if you don't ask for it, if you don't ask, you won't get. So with the confidence, there is no failure, only feedback for improvement. And the realization is, what's the worst that can happen? You will overcome your fear of failure. Overcoming parental conditioning it can be tricky because we want to respect our parents. I loved and respected both of my parents, both long gone now, but they still live with me in my memory. But what I realized many, many years ago is that both my parents didn't attend Parenting 101 at university. And if they did attend Parenting 101, they probably only got a C passing mark. Now, they did a great job, they kept me safe, and they got me educated, and they sent me out into the world, and I'm super grateful for that. But as I look back on them, and I talk to my sisters about my parents, and we lovingly laugh at the limited view that they had of the world that we have today. Your parents, I hope you love and respect them. I hope they did the right thing by you. But they had a small view of the world as it was. The world that they grew up in is not the world we're experiencing now. And so you have to thank your parents for everything they did and realize that they have let you go. You are the arrow, they are the bow. They drew back and they released you out into the world, and now it's up to you. You cannot live your parents' life. That was their life. You must live your life, and you must make your choices. Respect your parents, love your parents, but it is your life to live, and you need to make those choices. So the biggest I leave to last, which is cultural conditioning. And again, this is very much like the parental conditioning. Your culture was there to nurture you, whether you grew up like I did as an Englishman, or you grew up in India, or you grew up in Malaysia or China, you know, that culture is nurturing you and bringing you forwards. For me, the most powerful thing to do is to travel. And when you travel, you get new perspectives. You see how other people live. You see what other people value. And then you can get to make up your mind, just like when we address the parental conditioning. What are the values that matter to you most? Now, of course, I'm shooting this video during a time when travel is very difficult. And so maybe that may not be possible for you. So in which case, second best is make sure that you've got friends and acquaintances from different countries, from different nationalities and cultures. Make sure you listen to them, you find out what's important to them, what drives them, and it will open your mind and broaden you to there are so many ways to live on this planet. But it will also show you what's the commonality, which is we are all human beings. And we all really want the same things. You know, we want to be safe, we want to have some happiness and joy in our life, we want to experience family and love, and we want to make a contribution, and we want to make our life mean something. And so this final piece of being the driver of your life is choosing what success means to you. It doesn't mean what it meant to your parents, it doesn't necessarily mean what it means to your country. It's what does success and significance mean to you? And that takes some reflection and some thinking, and the best way to do that, as I said, is to travel, to read, or to hang out with people from different cultures and decide for yourself what really makes the difference. So, in summary, we have these two modes of life. We can be the driver or the passenger. Now, sometimes it's comfortable to be the passenger. You know, if I fly to a foreign city and I'm giving a speech, I'm picked up by a driver and I sit in the back seat and they navigate to the venue where I'm going to be giving a speech, and I just get to look out the window and absorb. And I get it. Sometimes in life and at work, it's just good to take it all in. But at some point, you have to get out of the car and you have to make your own way. And driving, when you're in the driver's seat, that is the most invigorating and exciting piece of life. And if you've ever driven a good car on a windy road and you've got to feel the thrill of being in control and choosing where you want to go, then you know what I'm talking about. You see, we all have a limited period of time on this planet, as far as I know. And so it's about what we do with that each day, choosing what am I going to do today? And am I moving towards the best version of myself? I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you want to expand your knowledge on self-leadership and dive deeper into the strategies, check out in the description below. There is a link to an online program that I've created just for you. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to the Ideas and Inspiration channel, do that right now. Thanks again for joining me. This is Andrew Bryant signing off. Be the best version of you.